Welcome to this first episode in a two-part series on Plato's theory of knowledge. Plato didn't write down his philosophizing in the form of treatises. Instead, he wrote dialogues. Each dialogue consists of two or more interlocutors discussing philosophical issues, adopting and discarding positions as they go. The star of these dialogues is typically a gentleman named Socrates, who makes a hobby out of sitting around the marketplace and provoking the residents of Athens with hard questions. Plato never features in his dialogues. He's only ever mentioned twice, and when he is mentioned, he never speaks a word. For this reason, we cannot say we know what positions Plato held with complete certainty. The matter is made more difficult by the fact that there are some dialogues, like the Theaetetus, for example, in which the interlocutors don't reach any particular conclusions. However, there are some positions whose cases are strongly made throughout Plato's dialogues. The conversants seem to settle on these ideas, and they fit nicely together into a coherent system. These are the positions which have come to be known as Plato's positions, and those are the ones that we'll be covering in this series. In this first episode, we're going to examine Plato's theory of forms and the divided line, as put forth in The Republic, his most famous dialogue. In the next episode, we'll consider Plato's theories of recollection and innate ideas, as put forth in his dialogue, The Meno. Plato's theory of forms depicts particular phenomena in the world as being embodiments of simple, eternal, immaterial entities called forms. As Plato says in his Republic, every particular manifestation in the material world is an imperfect instantiation of that, quote, one single perfect ideal embodied in one or another Platonic form. For example, when one observes two pencils of equal length, their equalness is an imperfect manifestation of the form of equality. Two identical twins are imperfect manifestations of the form of equality in the same way. Neither the pencils nor the twins are equalness itself, but both are a manifestation of equalness itself, that is, the form of equality. To consider the concept of the forms, in using another analogy, imagine that someone is commissioning a painting of themselves. That person is like the form of the painting, both in the sense that they caused the painting and in the sense that they are embodied in it. That painting is analogous to the material world in the sense that it's an imperfect representation of the person who it's a drawing of and can be considered good or bad with reference to the person's actual appearance, in the same way that the pencils are equal or unequal with reference to the form of equality. According to Plato's depiction, the immaterial truth of the forms descends to the material world of perception in four levels. The lowest tier is that of images, of which conjectures of physical things are a part. The tier above images, the second lowest tier, is the tier of objects, or, quote, things which conjectures resemble in the material world. These two lower tiers are those of images and objects. They make up the material world of the senses, which provides opinion. Above the world of the senses lies the two highest tiers, which make up truth. The second highest tier is the tier of ideas, which includes abstract concepts like perfect squares and perfect triangles. The highest tier is the forms, which cause all the tiers below it in a descending order. The two highest tiers make up the world of truth, which is the source of understanding. Plato places a distinct dividing line between the world of opinion and the world of truth. Plato's theory of forms and the divided line gives us a hierarchy of knowledge, and it also tells us where knowledge comes from. However, it doesn't tell us how one can come to actually have knowledge, or in other words, how one could come to understand the forms. How Plato believes we come to have knowledge is the topic we'll discuss in the next episode. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider checking out my YouTube channel.